Training Camp Central is brought to you by Toyota.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Jeff Joniak along with Tom Thayer, and welcome to Training Camp Breakdown, our first version. And of course, with this outstanding offensive lineman on one of the best offensive lines, if not the best ever in professional football, we're going to begin our camp coverage in this area with the offensive line, specifically pass blocking for the tackles. Thanks for joining us again on ChicagoBears.com. First night of pads for these players, and you can hear the excitement on the practice field, both with the players and the fans here. Tom, we're going to take us through three different things. We're going to focus on the tackles, left and right. Big competition on the left side. Mike Tice, the offensive coordinator, saying, I know these guys can run block. I got to find out who can pass block. So we're going to talk about getting in a stance, getting out of a stance, and hand placement once you get a guy in your face, and how to defend him and wall him off from your quarterback. So these are great tools. Take us through some things.
Real quickly, we're going to use this bag because this is the range of distance that an offensive lineman has to be concerned about. First of all, they're in their stance. And why is the stance so important? Because every defensive lineman looks at that stance, looks at their balance, and they can tell what direction they're going, if they're coming hard off the line of scrimmage or getting into a pass blocking stance. So first of all, you have to have knee bend out of your stance. And when you look at your stance, you always have to stay below your defender's head, because it's going to be the punch is going to have to come inside the shoulders, inside that body. But it's going to be from your stance to make sure that you're 100% balanced so you can come out of it efficiently. Go, turn! And Jeff, that's number two. Coming out of your stance is as important, because if you have any false movement, a lot of times the young guys coming out of college, they may have a slight hitch that you can get away with in college. Professionally, you cannot get away with any false movement, and that is going to be essential. First, balance. Second, coming out of your stance with no false movement. And then third is going to be the hand placement and the hand punch.
All right, so do you want to go through a couple of demonstrations to tell me where my hand placement is incorrect? And so forth. If I'm an offensive, I'm going to put this down, and I'm going to go on this pad here.
Oh,
okay?
my gosh.
I know,
sorry you have to see the Chicago Bears fans.
I mean, I've never been in a stance, so, you know. But if I'm getting out of my stance, I want to be inside right here.
Yes, inside the framework of the body.
Right. And hopefully not my hands like this, but like this.
And don't,
a lot lower.
right. You can't have a lot of, you know, that's the thing about it is when they are pass blocking, it's able to deliver a punch and keep your head out of it.
I had my head forward.
Right. If you do this, that defensive lineman can take advantage of you. So there are a lot of, when I talk about things being, players, offensive linemen being under balance, it's the most important factor in quality offensive line play. The only way you will be able to use your strength is if you're under balance.
All right, let me ask you, because the hand thing is big on the defensive side of the ball too. How do you stop a defensive lineman from chopping you, even if you get your hands in there first?
Well, first of all, the main weapon an offensive lineman has, they know the snap count. So I should be able to thrust my hands forward. If I know,
I'll be the defensive lineman.
Right. Okay. If I'm going set hut,
I'm coming at you. Ready?
Correct. Boom.
Okay.
And all what it is, again, knowing the snap count. It's knowing the snap count. That is essential for offensive linemen. Being able to anticipate the voice of the quarterback is the key. And when a defensive lineman learns hand fighting, they're doing it second hand, because the offensive lineman's already firing their arms forward. And if they fire their hands forward, that's what the defensive linemen have to do.
All right. Now, say you don't beat them with your hands. What's step two for you as an offensive lineman? Say they get their hands on you first. Are you in deep trouble at this point?
That's why you have to keep your head out of it, because if you keep your head out of it, you're still under balance. You'll be able to retreat your hand and get it back underneath. And the thing about it is essential. The whole time you're working your hands this way, your feet got to be turning. There's never a time do your feet come to a complete stop and deliver a punch. Everything is your feet chopping, delivering a punch with your head out of it. And if you do miss with that hand, it's being able to recover it back to the inside of the defensive lineman.
Specifically with defensive ends and dealing with the left tackle position in particular. Okay, Jamarcus Webb, long arms, 36-inch arms. He can steer a guy with his arms if he gets him on him first to the outside. How does then he make sure he doesn't get beat back to the inside you know, if he does the first phase of that properly, these guys can twist and turn and stunt their way right to the quarterback. You can't get beat across your face.
And that's probably go to this next report. You have to understand your assignments, and you have to understand everybody else's assignment. You have to know where your help comes from. You have to know the strength of the protection. Jamarcus Webb, as we're talking about, if he's going to slide out at left tackle, know the assignment of your left guard. Know where the running back is in the position. Know if your tight end's going to help you.
So there you have it, a quick 101 approach to offensive line play, pass blocking in particular, but it's not so simple. Even those 3 steps, I mean, that's the basis, but there's just a world of information you can learn from watching offensive linemen go to work every single day. I've learned that it's the best part of training camp, frankly, to watch these guys work inside town.
Right, but, you know, there's a lot of battles going on. So every rep they come out here, it means their job to them. And when you talk about the offensive linemen trying to prepare themselves, sometimes they have to prepare in not letting the defensive linemen know what they're doing. Because you come out here and you have a guy like Julius Peppers and he sees Jamarcus Webb, Chris Williams in a stance 500 times by the end of camp, they have a tendency to know what they're doing. You're going to see the best out of Jamarcus and Chris Williams in their competition when they get against an opponent of an opposite team. That's when your opponent's a little bit unsure. So we're talking about balance. We're talking about no false movement out of your stance. We're talking about hand placement and punch. Those are the 3 of the things to pay attention to when you're watching the preseason games. Have some of your own evaluation of the competition, because with those 3 factors, you can look at every offensive lineman and get some of the details of their job.
All right, that's going to wrap up our first training camp breakdown. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for watching on ChicagoBears.com.
Training Camp Central is brought to you by Toyota.